Now, this has to be a Pooh Shiesty diss song. Let's get to the song. So if you guys don't know, Gucci Mane announced pretty much like about an hour or two ago, he says he's dropping at midnight. He's dropping a song that's called Crash Dummy, with a picture of a dummy that's crashed.
Gucci Mane has just wrapped up what's being described as a witness statement, and there's no sugarcoating it. This really happened. He linked up on a track produced by Zedhoven, the same producer behind many of his classic records, and basically laid everything out line by line. What's raising eyebrows is that the lyrics seem to mirror what he allegedly told the Dallas Police Department back in January. The same statement federal investigators later used in the case involving Pooh Shiesty. It even connects to claims a judge referenced when denying bond, saying there were no conditions left that hadn't already been tried. This is no longer just about music. It's starting to feel much bigger than the industry. Gucci Mane has taken what looks like federal-level cooperation and turned it into a diss track released straight to streaming platforms. That alone is the headline moment. But underneath it, things get even heavier. We're talking about serious allegations, kidnapping claims, contract pressure, possible surveillance including wiretaps and tracking devices, a father and son arrested together, and now a track that could potentially be viewed as evidence in a federal case. This isn't your typical rap controversy. It's escalating fast and getting more complex by the day. To understand how we got here, we have to go back not just to January, but all the way to 2020. Pooh Shiesty, whose real name is Lontrell Williams Jr., signed to Gucci Mane's 1017 Records while he was still an emerging Memphis artist. He wasn't fully mainstream yet, but the momentum was building and people were starting to notice. And Gucci didn't just sign him, he backed him heavily. He pushed the brand, boosted visibility, and helped accelerate his rise. Within a year, Pooh Shiesty became one of the hottest names in rap. Back in Blood with Lil Durk exploded, the streets locked in, and 1017 looked like it was running the game. But in 2021, everything shifted quickly. Pooh Shiesty ended up facing a serious federal case tied to a weapon-related incident at a Miami nightclub. Just like that, his momentum came to a halt as he dealt with the legal system. Meanwhile, Gucci Mane and the 1017 camp kept moving forward like nothing changed. And this is where things start to matter most. According to Charleston White, speaking during a stream with Den of Ross, while Pooh Shiesty was incarcerated, Gucci Mane allegedly brought in around $24 million during that period. Pooh was still signed, still generating streams, and revenue was still flowing through music, merch, and licensing. But there are claims circulating that Gucci wasn't properly sharing that income. Again, these remain allegations, not confirmed facts. Still, they add context to the tension building behind the scenes. None of that justifies what is allegedly said to have happened next, but it does help explain the mindset forming over time. After being released in October 2025, Pooh Shiesty returned focused and dropped FDO, signaling he was ready to work again. But imagine coming back and feeling like the same label situation that built you up might not have been handled fairly. That's where the pressure starts stacking. That's the buildup. That's the tension. Then everything escalates on January 10th, 2026, at Luminous Studios in Dallas, Texas. On the surface, it was supposed to be a business meeting, contract talk, label discussion, grown man negotiations. But according to a federal complaint, what actually happened paints a very different picture. Pooh Shiesty didn't arrive alone. He showed up with a group 8 people in total. And as DJ Akademiks pointed out, once a meeting turns into that kind of setup, it stops looking like simple business. Prosecutors allege this wasn't just a disagreement, it was a coordinated, armed situation. Inside the studio, things reportedly escalated quickly once everyone was inside the soundproof booth, where no one outside could hear anything. According to the complaint, Pooh Shiesty allegedly pulled out an AK-style firearm and used it during the confrontation, forcing someone to sign documents, releasing him from his 1017 contract under pressure. And that's not all. Prosecutors also claim that, during the chaos, valuables were taken from Gucci Mane and others present. One person was allegedly put in a chokehold and lost consciousness during the incident. Big 30, known as one of Pooh Shiesty's close allies, and also tied to 1017, is also mentioned. According to allegations, he allegedly blocked the studio door to prevent anyone from leaving. That's why this isn't being treated as industry drama anymore. It's part of a federal case involving allegations of kidnapping and robbery. In April 2026, authorities carried out arrests involving 9 people total, including Pooh Shiesty, his father, Big 30, and others connected to the situation. One detail that stood out in the paperwork referenced someone identified as RD. Those familiar with Gucci Mane's real name, Radrick Davis, immediately noticed the connection, which raised even more attention online. The report also includes a detailed description allegedly provided to investigators, including clothing worn that night, black Nike ski mask, black hoodie, and black pants. These kinds of specifics are often used to build timelines in federal cases. During a court hearing, a special agent also confirmed investigators relied heavily on statements provided by Gucci Mane and others present after law enforcement was called to the studio that night by someone from his security team. She further stated that a large portion of the complaint used to charge the 9 individuals was built using information given by Gucci Mane and people connected to him. That's when the internet erupted. Reactions split instantly. Some focused on loyalty, others on business ethics, and debates started spreading everywhere. Rick Ross was one of the first to respond, speaking from a hotel in Prague. He said he didn't like the situation for either side, but emphasized that, in business, deals should be negotiated, not forced. 50 Cent, meanwhile, stirred conversation with a post he quickly deleted, suggesting someone involved may have cooperated with authorities. His message, "Stay tuned for who told," kept things vague but explosive. DJ Akademiks broke down details from the paperwork, pointing out alleged identifications and social media links tied to Big 30. He also made a controversial statement about dropping a dime, which immediately divided viewers online. Then a viral clip surfaced showing an inmate tossing Gucci Mane's autobiography over a railing inside a correctional facility. The symbolic moment spread quickly and fueled even more conversation about how people inside view the situation. But the biggest shock came next. While Pooh Shiesty remains in federal custody and bond has been denied, Gucci Mane dropped a diss track. Not just any track, but one that appears to reference the actual events in detail. Lines describing a business meeting that turned into a setup and tension building inside the room have led many to compare the lyrics directly with statements in the case documents. That overlap is what's making this feel less like entertainment and more like something unfolding in real time. Online reactions exploded, some accusing him of exposing too much, others saying it changes how they view the entire situation. Right now, Pooh Shiesty remains in federal custody in Dallas after bond was denied. The judge cited his prior record and previous home confinement conditions when making the ruling. If convicted on the most serious charges, he could be facing life in prison. His father is also in custody, adding another layer of seriousness to the case. Big 30's bond situation is currently paused after prosecutors stepped in, leaving his release uncertain. Meanwhile, Gucci Mane continues posting and releasing music publicly, though comments on some posts have been turned off. Behind the scenes, prosecutors are still building their case using statements and early evidence. According to one of Big 30's attorneys, Gucci Mane is not expected to testify in court. And now the biggest question remains, what happens next? Because when this case finally reaches trial, everything gets tested. Statements, timelines, evidence, and narratives will all be broken down in detail. What's been discussed online is one thing, but what can actually be proven in court is what will decide everything. Every new detail is getting dissected online right now. The court of public opinion is moving at the same speed as the actual legal process, and in some cases, even faster. And what makes this situation even more intense is that the music side hasn't slowed down either. Tracks, reactions, commentary, everything is blending into the legal drama in a way we don't usually see. Normally, those worlds stay separate, but here they're fully colliding, and that alone is raising eyebrows. A lot of people in the culture are questioning whether you can really play both sides and still keep your credibility intact. At the same time, the legal process is still pushing forward without slowing down. Federal authorities were reportedly still searching for another individual linked to the case as of the latest updates, which suggests this situation may be bigger than it first appeared. The discovery phase alone could stretch on for months, with both sides digging into evidence, statements, and timelines. Pushy's attorney, John Helms, is already setting the tone for the defense. He made it clear when he said, "In this business, things are very often not what they seem, and people's motivations are very often not what they seem." And that's not just a random comment, that's strategy. It signals there may be deeper layers to this story than what's currently being shown. There's also talk circulating, nothing confirmed, just speculation that more context could come out about what happened that night. Some say it could involve earlier conversations, financial expectations, or disagreements that built up before January 10th. Whether any of that actually comes out in court is still unknown, but it's definitely fueling more curiosity around the case. What we do know is this: the track Crash Dummy is already out on streaming platforms, and regardless of what the legal teams think about it, you already know they have strong opinions. It's public, it's permanent, and it's now something anyone can pull up, replay, and quote. Now let's break down the contract angle, because this isn't something new in the industry. Artists feeling stuck, underpaid, or taken advantage of in early deals happens all the time. It's a pattern across the music business. Most artists in that position either stay quiet, bring in lawyers, or speak out through interviews and social media to apply pressure. But the way this situation is being described allegedly changes everything. Claims of someone pulling out a weapon and forcing a contract release inside a studio are so extreme that it overshadows every other angle. It shifts attention away from any business dispute and pulls it straight into a serious legal spotlight. Because, at that point, even if there were real concerns about money or fairness, that's no longer what people are focused on. The headlines now center around the alleged kidnapping, reported robbery, physical altercation, weapon involvement, family connections, and the federal case itself. Any serious discussion about label issues gets buried under the weight of it all. Then there's another layer: what it means when a label head cooperates with authorities in a situation like this. In hip-hop culture, that topic always brings strong reactions. But based on the allegations, Gucci Mane was reportedly in a situation involving serious threats and danger. From that angle, speaking to authorities becomes less about culture and more about responding to what's described as a violent incident. People can debate street codes and loyalty all day, but federal charges like this don't appear out of nowhere. If someone genuinely felt threatened, that immediately shifts the conversation. And that's where the debate gets complicated: fast loyalty versus legal responsibility. What's less complicated, though, is the decision to release a diss track that seems tied directly to everything happening. That's where some are saying Gucci Mane may have miscalculated. Crash Dummy may have hit hard emotionally, but strategically, it raises questions. Once a track goes up on platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube, it's permanent. There's no taking it back. And now people are analyzing how the lyrics connect to everything else that's unfolding. And then there's the bigger picture. Loyalty is completely split. Pooh Shiesty wasn't just another artist. He was one of the biggest names tied to 1017 and seen as a major part of its future. You've got artists like 21 Savage showing support, fans arguing online, and the culture divided down the middle. That level of split only happens when both sides have real influence. Now, two people who were once on the same side are tied into a situation that could become one of the most talked about legal battles in hip-hop. The stakes are heavy on both ends. For Pooh Shiesty, it's his freedom and future if convicted. For Gucci Mane, it's his reputation, legacy, and how his role is judged if this goes to trial. This is what happens when business tensions and personal conflict aren't handled early. Situations that could have been settled privately end up turning into public, high-stakes legal drama once emotions take over. And when music starts sounding like real-life documentation, everything hits differently. And that's exactly what's happening here. Crash Dummy isn't just being talked about because of the sound, even though that Zaytoven production hits hard. It's being discussed because of what it represents. An artist speaking on a situation that's still active in federal court, a track that lines up closely with real allegations, where the lyrics start feeling less like storytelling and more like direct reference. That's what makes this stand out. It's no longer just music in the background. It's part of the story as it unfolds. Right now, Pooh Shiesty is in custody. His father is also in custody. Big 30's bond situation is still unresolved, and several others are facing serious legal pressure. Meanwhile, Gucci Mane is online moving freely, even limiting reactions on his posts. That contrast alone has people talking non-stop. No matter where people stand, whether they think Gucci Mane handled things properly, whether they believe Pooh Shiesty went too far, or whether they see this as a messy situation for everyone involved, one thing is clear. The entire culture is locked in, and it's forcing bigger conversations too. Record deals, artist treatment, and what happens when people feel trapped in contracts all of that is back in focus. So is the clash between street codes and real-world legal consequences, two systems that don't always align. This isn't the first time an artist has felt pressure from a deal, and it won't be the last. But the way music, legal battles, and public opinion are colliding here is what makes this different. That's why people can't stop watching, and ultimately, it all comes down to how this plays out in court. Right now, there are still two sides, two narratives, and a lot of unanswered questions. Once the trial begins, every claim, statement, and piece of evidence will be tested under pressure, and that's when the real picture starts to form. What makes this situation unique is how public it already is before even reaching that stage. Usually, details stay behind closed doors until court, but here, the music and online reaction have already pushed everything into the spotlight early. And that changes everything. By the time this reaches court, millions of people will already have opinions formed. That won't decide the legal outcome, but it will heavily shape the public narrative around it. Every move from here, legal strategy, statements, even silence will be watched closely. At the same time, this could end up shifting how music and legal cases overlap in the culture. Artists have always pulled from real life. But when lyrics start lining up this closely with active cases, it raises new questions about where entertainment ends and real events begin. No matter how this ends, one thing is clear: the artist-label relationship in rap is being viewed differently now. Loyalty, business, and real-life consequences have all collided, and the conversation has changed for good. Right now, opinions are split heavy, and people are watching every update closely.